In this video, we are going to talk about how I used the mirror principle to bend reality. Now, before I give you access to those tools, the first thing I need to do is introduce you to the one key mistake that prevents the mirror from changing in your own life. And it is a simple core truth that has withstood the test of time for sages and the greatest thinkers of all of our generations before us. Now, there's a simple question that everyone asks, and it's the core of change for people. It's the question, how? Everyone always asks, how do I do this? How do I change? How do I use the mirror principle? How do I get my life to change in this certain aspect? Now, the one thing I realize is we were asking the wrong question from the beginning. It's not about how, it's about who. The fundamental question is, who do I become in order for my life to reflect that in the mirror? In order for reality to reflect the desired outcomes back to me? When you start asking this question, you start to restore power to yourself. You start to come from an intrinsic place of self-referral, because you understand that every change you make internally is something that is going to be reflected in the external world. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is how the material world and the immaterial world coexist, and how you need to reframe your mindset, reframe your entire understanding, and you need to start living with this one core simple truth in mind. Now, the thing that I want to introduce you to that kind of transcends metaphysics, transcends sages, is the concept of the Tao. So there's a Chinese philosopher named Lao Tzu, and he created something called the Tao Te Ching. Now, the Tao translates to the way, meaning that there's a natural, harmonious way to live our lives. But when you come to this realization, you understand that, hey, there are some things in our material experience, some things in the world of 10,000 things that we want changed. And as soon as we want that change, we start to experience internal polarity between an idea and expectation of what we want our life to be like, and the true reality of the nature that is. So before we get into you bending the mirror principle, I want to help you remove limiting beliefs, remove limiting mindsets in between you and the nature of who you are, and the pure harmony of abundance, success, and love that you can experience every day if you let it be so. So the one thing we need to talk about is the world of illusion versus the world of truth. Now, in the Tao Te Ching, they say to name the Tao means that you do not fully understand the concept because it cannot fully be named. Now, my interpretation of this is that there's a natural harmony to life that we cannot categorize, that our logical mind, that our state of ego cannot put a label on. And this is the natural essence. This is the pure flow of life and how the ups and downs actually come together in a synchronous harmony that creates the universe, the one song, right? Now, Lao Tzu refers to the world of illusion as the world of 10,000 things, right? The bills we gotta pay, when we gotta go to work, the kids we gotta raise, all the things that pull us into a state of the material world that prevent us from truly understanding the nature of things. Now, what I want to introduce you to is to stop putting yourself in a place of illusion and restore your power to truth. Because if we start to integrate the mirror principle into this concept, we resonate at a place of truth, we start to attract that back into our lives. So how are we going to do this? We need to understand that we need to start living from a place of internal realization, that our natural state of being aligns with the Tao. As above, so below. Man was created in the image of God. We are naturally part of this perfect harmony. It is actually our ego and our conditioning and our programs that create these barriers, these limiting beliefs to attracting all the success, wealth, love, happiness, and health that we want in our life. Now, the one thing that's going to help you leave the world of illusion is going to be understanding this one simple concept. Now, by no means is it easy, but it is simple when you start to understand the nature of the world of 10,000 things. So we know that the nature of the world of 10,000 things is paradoxical duality, right? This is where we have the concept of the duality of man. Now, by no means am I Picasso, but we're going to draw a little diagram to kind of give you a frame of reference to understanding how duality impacts our lives. Now, I don't have any colors on me, but I want you to imagine this stream is red, all right? We're gonna go red and bad. And I want you to imagine this stream is blue. And this stream embodies everything that is good in life. Now, the world of 10,000 things and the way humans go about understanding the nature of life itself is through paradoxical duality, right? How do we have the concept of tall if we do not have the concept of short? How do we have the concept of beauty without the concept of ugly? This list goes on forever. Just think about how many concepts naturally have this paradoxical duality to it, right? Here's one that you can use in your own life to start to understand what frame of referencing you're starting to experience things from. Are you in a state of desire? Or are you allowing the universe to bring things to you, which is desireless? The one thing I want to get you to understand is that these are not separate. In the Western civilization, we have a lot of separation. We have a lot of duality, a lot of things we use to judge, label, which distorts our entire perception of the experience we're having, which in turn gives you an illusion in the mirror that you're looking to change in your reality. When you let go of the good and bad, you are restoring power to yourself, right? If we are making decisions based on an external experience, if we are living from a place of external validation, we're giving power to an external thing. If I'm going to let a girl that I think is beautiful determine my self-worth, if I ask her out, if she says no and my self-worth crumbles, that is external validation. But if I ask her out because I know who I am and I know what I want in my life and I would love to have a beautiful girl and get to know her better, then that is a place of self-power. That is a place of self-referral. That is me understanding the nature of who I am and that the world of 10,000 things and paradoxical duality does not define me. When we start to overcome these things, and I want you to think of this as purple, and this is going to be flow. When you start to let these things be as they are, you start to experience life for what it is. Things come together in a natural harmony when you are no longer governed by the power that you give the external world. This is going to be the most important concept that you internalize daily to start changing the mirror, to start changing what you see in reality. Because as soon as you make a judgment upon what you see in reality, you're creating a polarization. Think about it like this. Your desire for a positive experience inherently creates a negative one. Because if you want something that's good, you are technically saying, I'm over here on the spectrum of bad, and I need to figure out how to get over here. But that's where we're playing this back and forth game. If you just understand that the nature of life itself is flow, and that good and bad things are just how we categorize and how we place labels on the ever eternal flow, right? The Tao, the permanent nature of how things are, you're gonna realize that these things no longer govern you. When you can transcend that paradoxical duality, you can start to work in pursuit of your goals without need for a certain outcome. They say that the master forgets his work, which is what makes it live on forever. Let me say that again. The master, when he completes his work, forgets all about it, which is what makes it live forever. When you put effort into something and you come from a place of truth, you come from a place of understanding that the nature of life itself is the pure Tao, you are aligning with the fullest truth, which meaning you are manifesting that into your life, and you have no need to seek outcome, you have no need to seek validation, you have no need to seek a certain experience, because you are already embodying and aligned with the highest frequency. Now, let's talk about the mirror. The mirror of reality, right? Everyone talked about, hey, we know that the internal reflects externally. This is the fundamental basis of the mirror principle. Now, we need to understand that if we want something to change externally, we do not seek to change something in the physical world, because this is the realm of effect, right? We want an effect. Think about when we were in 4th grade math, and they'd give us those little tables where it's like x plus 1 equals y. And then they put the first number right here. This is our starting point. This is the input. And then we want the output. 3, boom. That's an input. Now let's say we want to work backwards. Let's say we have certain goals we want for ourselves in life. And we're starting here. Now what do we need to change about here based on the circumstances life is giving us to achieve this outcome? Well, I know objectively 4 plus 1 gives me 5. As soon as we let our subjectivity and our judgments and the nature of the world of 10,000 things and the paradoxes to blind us from the inputs and outputs, we start to create that polarization I was talking about, and we do not get to play the cards we're dealt, because we're living in the world of illusion. We are letting things that do not exist, created by our mind, prevent us from playing the game that reality naturally gives us. Now, you need to understand the material world is a physical manifestation of internal truth. This is the state of cause. So I just gave you the graph of inputs and outputs. We actually need to change the world of cause, which is the spiritual world. The cause is spirit. The effect is the material. You cannot change a cause by playing on the effect level. These are on 2 different places in what we experience. But what you can do is align with a greater truth, an internal understanding that, hey, as soon as I change this, as soon as I change my soul, it's going to reflect right here. This simplifies your life in so many ways, because think about what I was just describing. Let me get some more room right here first. I'm going to be stitching together just a bunch of different concepts, so bear with me. All right, and we know we need to change the world of spirit, which is the causal plane, which is also the pure Tao. It's not actually about changing something. It's just about aligning with a higher frequency. If you've ever seen the spectrum of consciousness, pure Tao is above enlightenment. Why is it above enlightenment? Because it's the natural state. We are no longer categorizing anything. Fear, anger, peace, gratitude, love. These are the natural levels. So these are the natural frequencies that we're kind of conditioning the unconditional with. Pure Tao is pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is a state beyond that duality, beyond that polarization I was describing. It is the unchanging, immaterial experience that creates a physical manifestation of what we want. But the physical manifestation of what we want is what we do when we condition. So there's a book called Infinite Potential by Neville Goddard. When we say I am blank, we are conditioning the unconditioned awareness, consciousness. Now we're throwing around a lot of big words here, but awareness, consciousness, the pure Tao, the nature of reality outside of the conditioned material experience is the only constant. You know, when we'd be in statistics or math class and we'd have independent variables and dependent variables, the world of 10,000 things is dependent. The pure Tao, the nature of our experience, is independent. That's what gives it power. It is no longer validated based on an external place of dependency. It is a natural state. So the secret is we could try and change 10,000 things about this dependent world, right? We could try and change our bills, our love life, all the BS that the world throws our way. Or we could align with a higher truth. And when we align with a higher truth, we come back to that question of it's about changing who you are, not understanding how to do something. If you are aligned with pure Tao, which is actually just the act of letting go, you have everything. You have to understand this is our natural state of being. This is our natural state of being. This is acting without an implied judgment. Act without judgment. As soon as we begin to do this, our experience is no longer conditioned by an outcome, and we are no longer going to fall back into our karmic loops because the judgments we're making about the world are no longer based on an outcome. Letting go is the key to having it all because you are removing the illusion. You are removing the illusion of the world of 10,000 things. You are just removing the barriers in between you and experiencing the nature of life itself. Now the secret is what did we just say? The internal world reflects the outer one. Let's say we have two people. Let's say one experiences love, one experiences fear. The world they experience, here's a continent, Iceland, whatever. It's not a bad globe, actually. This is going to be an angelic earth. And this one, let's bring back the Picasso in me, is going to be on fire. It's going to be destruction, chaos. This is going to be peace. It's going to be harmony. But the secret is that it's the same world. That it has been conditioned by someone's understanding. What I'm trying to introduce you to is that as soon as you no longer place a judgment upon an external world and you just start to experience the pure truth that is unfiltered by fear, by greed, by anxiety, you start to enter the natural flow. The natural flow is pure harmony. Life always finds a way. Whatever happened, whatever you believe in religiously, scientifically, we made it here somehow. There's a perfect harmony to the experience we're having, and we just need to get out of the way of that. Now, let's look at this a little deeper, because I get it. Everyone can talk about some woo-woo, high-level spirituality, but Grant, how does it apply to me? I got bills to pay, I got kids to raise, I got a business to run. This is how it applies to you. Wealth flows because you're naturally abundant. Love finds you because you're already complete. Success finds you because you're aligned. You're already embodying the traits of what you're seeking. That's the secret, is that your internal state, when you align with a deeper truth and a deeper harmony, is going to be attracted back in the material world. So you no longer have to worry about that. You no longer have to worry about 10,000 things. You just have to be one thing, and that is in flow. That is to be in balance with the material and the immaterial. You are governed by neither. It is just a natural state of experience. Once you remove these distortions, once you remove the illusion, you naturally flow. Now, we talk about this when we kind of reference Joe Dispenza's teachings, right? Your thoughts and your emotions are always creating your reality in real time. If you're focused on 10,000 things, the world of paradoxical duality, the world of illusion, then you're going to be attracting that chaos into your life. If you can slow down, you can become still, you can align with the present moment, right? The present moment is the quantum field. It is the eternal potentiality of the now. You're going to be experiencing the highest form of power. Everyone watching videos looking to change their life is seeking to know, seeking to understand. But what people don't understand is that being precedes knowing. How does being precede knowing? Because doing something, being in a state of action, has to be accomplished before we can seek to understand something, before we can seek to place judgments on things, place understanding on things. So if we just remove this world of 10,000 illusions from your life, right? To know this is logic, this is ego, this is fear, this is external validation. And we could start to move into a place of being. When you're being, you're present. This is wisdom. This is alignment. This is your natural state, and this is what you're going to attract back into your life. As soon as you just let this fall to the wayside, you no longer need to understand. You just need to let be, because it is the natural way. Now, let's dive into a few more concepts. The next thing I want to talk about is you won't need anything because you are the source, right? The sun doesn't need light. It is light. It is a state of being. It doesn't need to know or to understand how to create light. It is. The ocean doesn't need depth. It is depth. You do not need to seek abundance, because you are abundance. This is why it's so important to understand these metaphysical and these spiritual teachings, because as soon as you remove yourself from the world of ego, as soon as you remove yourself from the world of seeking to understand and to feed your energy to the illusion, it's very simple. It is actually the simplest state of being. This is why they talk about doing nothing and attaining everything. Now, to tie back full circle to the mirror principle, you don't need You do not need to chase the reflection. You are emanating truth. This is the secret behind the mirror principle. And this is how it gets reality to bend at your will. Truth is. There is no argument about it. It is the strongest, most authentic frequency in the universe. Everything about the physical world, the world of 10,000 things, will bend to that experience when you align with the truth. So it's actually not about achieving. It's not about chasing. It's not about manifesting. It is about being and resonating with truth by doing whatever you need to do to stay in a place of understanding. If that means getting rid of social media because it's the world of illusion, then you're one step closer to truth. You no longer are going to make decisions and base your actions upon an external experience because it's going to be naturally harmonious. Because this is the simplest, most peaceful thing you can do for yourself. You are going to become what you seek. You remove illusions, and you are naturally going to resonate with the pure Tao. Once you let go, you enter flow. Action is no longer going to be dependent upon an external source. It is going to emanate and be embodied from the source that is you. You ever seen that quote, an interview by Timothy Chalamet? He's like, life is not happening to you, it is coming through you. So remove the illusions of the mind that prevent that energy from coming out. You will no longer need to be seeking because you are going to be moving into a state of being. And that is how the mirror is going to reflect who you are. If you like this video, drop a subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.